Hello everybody. We are continuing down our path of campaign development, and so there is this thing developed by George Lakey from Training for Change, and I posted this I included this in the syllabus. This is the very short how shall I say, piece of text. It's maybe 2 or 3 pages. If you haven't read it, you should read it. And it's actually an explanation of a very nice tool which is called the Spectrum of Allies, which was developed by George Lakey and Training for Change, his organization in Philadelphia. And this is a visual tool which allows you to put all the groups on the spectrum between active allies and active opponents. And this allows you to have an overview of all the groups, all the interested parties for your campaign. So let's try to put some of these groups on this spectrum of allies. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna use the text box here, and we're going to put different groups on different parts of the spectrum based on what we were doing, based on the questions that we asked ourselves earlier. So here you can actually put different groups. The way I'm gonna do it is actually I'm gonna put okay, so there it is. Active opponents, we're gonna put smokers there. I just wanna, okay, so smokers are going to be put here as active opponents. And so we can have also street vendors here. Somebody said that they're also opponents. Oops. Okay, so street vendors are also here. Active allies, pregnant women, some students. Okay, we can have the okay, restaurant owners. Somebody says that restaurant owners are active allies. Maybe not. We have to understand why would they be active allies. Maybe they're passive allies. Maybe they're passive opponents. Can you please explain why do you think that the restaurant owners could be active allies? Okay.
Okay, I think some restaurant owners can be active allies because it costs money and it costs resources to keep the restaurant from having to deal with cigarette smell and smoke and complaints from clients. I personally feel like before we had the ban for the cigarettes in most of these places, especially eating places, people would complain all the time to establishment that there's a smell of smoke and let's not go to this restaurant because there's too many smokers here. So I think restaurants did used to lose business. So I believe that some restaurants do benefit from, not having smoking in the restaurant. They will get more people coming in to eat.
So so some of the restaurant owners can indeed be active allies or passive allies for that matter, because they can also be sick and tired of having to listen to all the complaints from different customers. Okay, so we can say that so far we have pretty much analyzed the spectrum of allies. And we can say that the spectrum of allies actually is giving us an overview of where these people are and what is their attitude towards our campaign. So the spectrum of allies actually allows us to do one thing, and that is to slowly, as a goal of our campaign, to slowly move different groups towards our side on the spectrum. So the idea is not that we will turn smokers from active opponents to active supporters. That is not the very realistic, and as we remember, one of the criteria for the goal is to be achievable. So this wouldn't be achievable to turn active smokers to turn smokers from active opponents to active allies. So this will not do. But what the spectrum of allies actually allows us is to do something else, and that is to move everybody a little bit from a little bit to the left, to our side. So if we have pregnant women here, they already are active allies. We're gonna try with our message to move our passive allies to become more active. We're gonna try to move people who are neutral to become passive allies. We're gonna try to move passive opponents, people who are opposing what we do but they're not doing anything much about it, to move them to be more neutral towards the thing. And we're gonna try to move the active opponents to be more passive opponents, so they don't put up a fight. So the idea of targeted communication is actually for each targeted group to have a specialized message that is going to move them a little bit towards our side. So the message is not one, meaning that we cannot tell them just, smoking is bad, we should have a smoke-free zone, because most of these people are not going to relate to this message. Some people, like the smokers, they're going to see it as a threat. Some people as street vendors are going to see it as a problem because they depend on smokers. Restaurant owners are going to be maybe confused because they're going to think, well, this may be a good idea, but on the other hand, if I lose the smokers, maybe it's going to be bad for my business. And so the idea here is to, through analysis of the target, we're going to develop a better message. And this message is going to move the target slowly a little bit to our side. Once we are successful in that, then we can launch the next campaign that is going to move them a little bit more to our side. So the same logic applies to any human rights advocacy campaign, but we're going to stick to our anti-smoking campaign as the example. So is this clear? This is what we're going to do. Move everybody counterclockwise. Okay. So we are now going to go into the message box. And the message box is a tool that was developed for the purpose of election campaigns a long time ago, and it was just something that was used for people to list what their statements are. But the message box evolved in human rights advocacy efforts as the tool to analyze the target. And the way we're going to analyze the target is we're going to answer 4 questions for each of those targets. The first question, which is going to be the same whoever the target is the question, what do we say about us? Who are we? what are we trying to do and what is our goal, meaning the smoke-free advocacy group and our campaign to establish smoke-free zones. So this is the first question. We answer in the message box, we about us. What do we say about us? And then we have another question that we need to answer, and this is, what do they say about us? What does the target say about our campaign, about our group, and about our effort? In this first message box that we're going to do, we're talking about vendors, people who are selling not just cigarettes but also other things like sweets and candy and nuts and these kind of things. What do they say about us? Then we have to answer the question, what do we say about them, about our target group, and we need to answer the question, what do they say about them? So let's go step by step. We know what we say about us. We answer that in the mission statement. So I'm not going to repeat it again, but we want smoke-free zones. This is what we are about. This is our goal. This is what we want to say about us. But what do vendors say about us? We can okay. Let's put some of these things here too, which were listed. I'm going to write some of the things here. We are against smoking. We like people to have better health. Smoking, people to have better health, etc., etc. So what do we say about the street vendors? What is our message to the street vendors? What is the message we want to convey to them? Does anybody have an idea? What would be the message we want to say to the street vendors? I'm just going to comment on the things that are being written here. So when we talk about street vendors, we need to have the message for them which says, what does this smoke-free establishment of smoke-free zones, what does this mean for them? You know, what are we going to have that impacts the things that we're going to do, how they're going to impact their business and their stuff that they're doing. So this is going to be the we about them. So then you can actually put the what do they say about us? What do the street vendors say about our campaign? This is an important part, because street vendors may see us as bad for business. Exactly. So they can think that this campaign is actually going to hurt their business, and so they may be hostile to the campaign itself. But what do they say about them? What do street vendors say about them and their business? Yes, what they say is that the thing they want to do is they want to make some money, because this is their job. This is what they do to make a living. So for them, it is not about the cigarettes. It is about, making money. If they could sell something else, they would. I mean, they're not especially attached to cigarettes as such. So So let's see how to bridge the gap between the perception of street vendors and us. In our message, we need to play on the following misconceptions or the following statements that we singled out here. First, we need to, in our message, include that we respect their goal to make a living out of their activity. So this is something we're not aiming to stop that. So in our message, first thing we need to assure them, which is another thing, is that this is not going to hurt their business. So this is one thing. And another thing that we need to persuade them is that what we are trying to do is actually not going to hurt their business, and it's actually maybe going to help their business. And this is how we're gonna. This is what we can find from the message box. So the way to do it, and we will come back to it later. The way to do it is actually to explain to the street vendors in the following way. We know that what you're doing is the way you make money. We know this is your way to make money, and we do not wish to hurt your business. But we think that smoking is costing society a lot of money. That you know, we're trying to establish smoke-free zones in the restaurants, etc., etc., because we are against smoking, etc., etc., and these two things need to be reconciled. So this is the where ingenuity of message development comes in. We have the problem of trying to overcome the prejudices and misconceptions that street vendors have about the anti-smoking campaign. So for now, we're going to just leave it where it is. We singled out the problem, and we're going to come back to it when we develop the message. So let's go to the next group. What the we about us is actually the same as before, but let's try to do the other things. What is our message about to the students who want to do who just want to hang out and they want to spend time in this is their primary motivation. They want to spend time together in these coffee shops. And so what do we say about them? So yeah, one of the things that we need to talk about is socializing and smoking is now used as a form of socializing and is a result of peer pressure. But there can be other alternatives for socializing. So indeed, this is one thing this is a message that we need to. What do students say about us? What would be the biggest how shall I say perception that they have on anti-smoking campaigns? That the smoking campaign is curbing their self-expression. That's a good one. This is something that they can see as limiting, and probably another way or another attempt to control what they're doing. And what do students say about them? What do they think about themselves? This is an important part of the message. We are here to have fun, indeed. And they're free to do whatever they like. This is another thing with students. So here, as well as with street vendors, we need to first appreciate what they're doing and what they feel about themselves. So in our message, we need to explain to them that they should have fun and that they should be free to do whatever they like, and that we don't want to curb their self-expression, and we don't want to take away their cool factor. But we want smoke-free zones, and there can be other ways of socializing other than smoking, and there can be other ways, alternative ways for them to have fun. So this would be the way to pass the message to the students. Here we can see that from analyzing the target. So these are the things that our message needs to tell them. It needs to tell them that they should have fun and they should be free to do whatever they like, that we are not going to curb their self-expression, but that we want smoke-free zones, and that socializing by means of smoking is not the only way of socializing. So let's move to the next group. What about restaurant owners? Here again we are going to put the first is the same. We want smoke-free zones. This is our core message. This message doesn't change whoever is the target of our communication. Yeah, I mean, one of the comments here says about the students is that the message is to introduce another cool factor. Indeed, this is where we're going to go, and this is exactly what this sort of analysis is going to lead us to find the way to reach out to people who otherwise wouldn't be interested in what we have to say. So what we say about the restaurant owners, we don't want them to lose business, and we want them to make more business by actually having customers that don't want to sit in smoke-filled rooms. What do they say about us? Well, what they say about us is probably similar to what the street vendors are saying. They are maybe afraid that this may hurt their business, and so what they would like us to do is actually to leave them to whatever they're doing. So somebody said here, please do not disturb us. And what do the restaurant owners say about themselves? What they would like to think about themselves, and what they usually say about themselves? Any ideas? Free business? Similar to street vendors, they also want to make money. This is what they do for a living. This is not something that they would, how shall I say, that they would prefer smokers if smokers weren't buying drinks and food in their restaurants. The reason why they like people in their restaurants is because they're customers, not because they're smokers or non-smokers. Okay, so the other thing that what they think about themselves is very important, that is listed here, is that they want to care about their customers. And this can be an important segue into passing the message about smoke-free zones. So when we deliver a message to owners of restaurants, we need first to appreciate that their business is important to them, and this is the way they make a living. And we need to appreciate, and we also need to tell them that we know that they care about their customers, and that we don't want to hurt their business, similar to the street vendors. We need to kind of, in the message, explain that we don't want to hurt their business. And we need to explain that they will probably have more business if they dedicate some zones in their restaurants for people who don't like to sit in smoke-filled rooms. So caring about customers which is an important part of what they think about themselves, can be transferred into a message that they should care about their non-smoker customers too, by establishing smoke-free zones. So here, in the analysis by using the message box, we can actually already see the glimpses of the message for the restaurant owners. Because as you remember, in the campaign objective, the way we're going to establish these smoke-free zones is in the partnership with restaurant owners. So they're the most important partner for this particular effort. So let's go to the next group, which are the smokers. Again, we want smoke-free zones, is what we say about us, but let's fill the other three boxes here. We about them. It's a tricky one, because if we look back at the spectrum of allies, what we want to achieve is to move smokers from active opponents to passive opponents. So this is important. We're not going to change their mind. With our campaign, they're still going to be opposing what we do, but they're just going to be less active in this opposition. So yes, in the message box about smokers, we need to tell them, you can still smoke, but we have to have our own section. Okay, this is an important part. What do they say? What do they say about us? They're destroying my fun. They can harm themselves, but not others. This is another thing what we say about them. And what would be something that what they say about themselves? What do smokers usually say about themselves? They usually say that they are the endangered and, well, as long as I can smoke, then I'm happy. Okay, this is true. But also the people who smoke often see that they are threatened by people who are trying to prevent smoking. So they have this kind of endangered species kind of attitude. Okay, so here is what we have as a result of the message box for smokers. So what do they say about themselves? What they want to do? What they want to do is smoke. This is what is their most important thing, and what they see us as somebody who can jeopardize that and who can threaten their smoking habit by introducing certain bans. So when we are developing a message intended for the smokers, we need to tell them, okay, you can smoke, and this is fine. We're not going to destroy your fun in smoking. We just want to have our own section where we are not going to be exposed to your smoke. And the message can also go, you're not going to, at the same time, you're not going to be exposed to our nagging and our complaints, because we're going to be in a separate section. So you're not going to have a problem with us, we're not going to have a problem with you. So this is the way to frame the message for smokers. But as you can see from this message box, the smokers are not our primary target, and the smokers, that's why we don't have such a powerful message that should be prepared for smokers, because we're not going to get smoke-free zones by persuading smokers. We're going to have smoke-free zones by persuading restaurant owners. The only thing we want to do with smokers is to kind of calm them down so they don't create much trouble. Because if we have a message towards the smokers that is going to irritate them, that is going to make them angry, then they're gonna put up a fight. And if they put up a fight, we're gonna have more trouble convincing the restaurant owners that we should have smoke-free zones. So, targeted communication, in an essence, is distinguishing different targets and figuring out who you want to see where and how do you want different targets to behave. So by analyzing these targets, you can actually develop messages for each of those targets. So that these messages are then compatible, they don't fly into the face of one another. Okay, so we have a quote from Sun Tzu here. It is said that if you know your enemies and know yourself, you can win 100 battles without a single loss. Indeed, this is what we would like. This is what we would like to have, and this is the reason why we have to put so much effort in analyzing the target before we go into the implementation. So let's go back and look at these 4 message boxes again. So we have to persuade vendors that this is not going to hurt their business. This is the most important thing here, and that they don't need to first they can sell cigarettes still, but they can also make money by selling peanuts and other nuts. And when people don't smoke, they tend to take more nuts. That this was proven to be a regular behavior. So one of the ways we can turn this message into an action is by organizing peanuts eating week in restaurants where people are going to be buying peanuts from the street vendors, and so they would be then encouraged to kind of support the idea. But again, they are not our primary target. So let's go to the next group. Students, what they want to do, they want to have fun. So the message to them is something that is going to make them cool, and we'll come back to one of the comments here. Message is to introduce another cool factor, something that is going to make them look cool, and some activity that is going to allow them to socialize without smoking. But again, this is not our primary target. When we look at smokers are a potential trouble. They are our opponents. They may cause trouble. So what we want to do with smokers in our message is we want to lower their enthusiasm. We want them to still don't like us and don't like the idea of smoke-free zones, but they say, okay, at least we're gonna have our own section in the restaurant where we can smoke. So the message to them, or a slogan, is that we're going to the smoke-free zones are going to be complaint-free zones for them. So nobody is going to complain about their smoking anymore, because we're going to establish complaint-free zones where they can actually smoke without any complaints. So this would be a message for them. But the most important group here and the target for our campaign is the restaurant owners. So for them, the message is that we want smoke-free zones, we are your customers, and we know you care about your customers, so you should care about your customers who don't smoke as well by establishing smoke-free zones. So this is the message, and this now can be turned into a slogan. And here is where creativity comes in. How do we make these slogans? This is something we're gonna focus on more in the next class. we're going to talk about the message and the messenger. We're going to talk about from this analysis that we now looked at, we're going to look at how this message is developed and turned into a message carrier. As McLuhan said, Marshall McLuhan, in his book, which was printed I don't know how many years, decades ago, he said that the medium is the message. And actually, some people say messenger is the message. And it depends on how you convey the message and through which channel and how you actually pass on this message. This is going to actually influence the message as well. And this is actually part of the message. So next week, we're going to talk more about different ways to convey the message. Mostly, we're going to talk about digital communication. And we're going to talk about different ways, videos, blog posts, pictures, infographics, and other ways to convey the message. But it is important again to come back to something that we mentioned several times, and this is to personalize the message, because the message that is not personalized is not going to be as powerful as the message that is coming in the form of a personal story. So this short simulation that we went through about anti-smoking campaign, we didn't create the message yet. And the reason why we didn't create the message yet is because this is a creative process. We didn't have time to come up with wording that would be precise, that would be specific, that would be to the point, that would be easy to repeat for each of those messages. But we, through the analysis of our audiences that we did in the message box, and with the use of spectrum of allies before that, we actually pretty much have all the ingredients for a successful message development. So we're going to continue on the forum. We're going to continue with the anti-smoking campaign simulation, and in the forum we're going to create some of the slogans and messages for these groups later on. But before we do that, do we have any questions before I talk a little bit about the assignment for the next week? Any questions here? Okay, we have a question.
Hi, and thanks for today, Ivan. My question is related to ethics of sending a message. Are we allowed to use children as a target group? Let's say not in the smoking example, but in a campaign for encouraging people to use seatbelts. Can we go and talk to children and ask them to talk to their parents?
Okay, this is an important ethical question, and there is a lot of concern to be made about the misuse of children in targeted communication. You can see that by all the big companies that are trying to sell products by targeting children directly, and because children don't have that sort of critical distance that older people have towards so they're much more easily manipulated. And so we can see that this is an important ethical question. So the main question here is who benefits from this targeted communication, because if we are talking about the campaign that is targeting children, but for the benefit of those children, like for instance a campaign that is going to promote the use of seat belts or better behavior in the street when it comes to traffic, and that is going to limit the number of traffic accidents and that kind of stuff, then the goal and the objective would justify targeting children. But if the case is the pure manipulation, like in the case of many of the companies that are trying to sell toys or that kind of stuff to children by aggressive marketing, that, at least in my view, is totally unethical, and I would never suggest doing something like that. So yes, as one of the comments here, I'm just reading the comment that you cannot rely on analytical thinking ability of children. So that is the most important obstacle for that. But there are campaigns aimed at children, and as I said, there are examples where you actually are allowed to do that, but it needs to be in the benefit of those children. For instance, a campaign that will educate children how to cross the street, or that they shouldn't I don't know, I'm trying to think of something else, but this is something that we were exposed to when we were children too. So otherwise it's highly unethical. Campaign "Do not talk to strangers." That would be an interesting one. But again, this is something that is very, very specific and very, very aimed at children. We have something else here, and that is, the young people. We're now talking about people over the age of 18, and we're talking about people who are capable of reasoning, so they're not considered children anymore, but they still have, because they're young, they still have much bigger rate of communication with other people. They're much more dynamic, and therefore they're actually very good in as not as targets of campaign, but as actually people who are participating in the campaign as part of the campaign. And so this is something we're going to talk about in 2 weeks when we talk about campaign organization. We talk about volunteers. So there we're not talking about children, we're talking about young people, but these young people can actually be vehicles and driving force of the campaign. So we're gonna we have to finish soon, so let me spend 1 more minute on the assignment. This is we're gonna continue our simulation exercise in the next couple of days, the anti-smoking campaign exercise, and we're gonna come up with the slogans and message and other forms of communication for that particular campaign. But you have the big campaign that you're working on to think about too. And so one of the things that you're going to do in the and you can work on parallel, and I'm going to be helping you with that. The final campaign is going to be due December 4th. So we have more than a month to complete it. So we're now going step by step. Well, not more than a month, but a little bit less than a month to complete it. And we're going step by step. So we still have plenty of time to do it. I just want to introduce this second part of the campaign plan, which is to develop the primary message. This is the message for the primary audience, primary target. As in this simulation, we actually realized that our primary target were the restaurant owners. Here, each of you will define the primary target of your campaign, and you're going to develop the message by using the message box tool for that target. You're gonna explain all these, answer all these 4 questions: we about us, we about them, they about us, and they about them. And you're gonna present this in 3 paragraphs, 250 words, which is the message. And the message is going to contain key concepts that are going to be part of the campaign, but it is not going to be a slogan, a flyer, or any other product that is going to carry the message. This is not going to be something that we're going to think about now. This is something we're going to do a week from now. So just now focus on the essence of the message, not on the carrier, not on the way this message is going to be disseminated. So, and this assignment is due next Monday, and we're going to continue the discussion on the forum, especially the simulation, and in the next day or two I would focus on the simulation, because that's going to answer a lot of questions about the message development that we didn't cover in the class. And for next Monday, the assignment using the message box tool. If there are any assignments from the last week that were not finished or you were not able to post them because of the technical problems or whatever other problems, we still, as I said, we still have time, so it's not really a problem, but please make sure that you post them. Okay, I kept you long enough. It's already 8 o'clock and 1 minute, so thank you very much and have a good week.
اگر بارها دنبال واژه آموزش گشته اید ولی با درهای بسته روبرو شده اید، اگر دنبال آموزشکده‌ای گشته اید که دور نباشد و استادهای خوبی هم داشته باشد، اگر مشتاق آموختن هستید اما توانایی مالی کافی نداشته اید که بیشتر و بیشتر بخوانید و بدانید، اگر شبها وقت آزاد دارید و روزها نمیتوانید دنبال درس و کلاس بروید، توانا بهترین انتخاب شماست. توانا بود هر که دانا بود. توانا رایگان در اختیار شماست. آموزشکده‌ای در خانه شماست. هر وقت که بخواهید، شب یا روز. با درس‌هایی مانند حق و حقوق زنان، دموکراسی، تفسیرهای نوین و لیبرال از دین، حقوق اقلیت‌ها، حکومت قانون، نهادسازی و نهادهای مدنی، محیط زیست، روزنامه نگاری و امنیت فضای مجازی و موبایل‌های هوشمند. آموزشکده توانا کلاس‌های دلخواه شما را رایگان به منزل شما می‌آورد. در کلاس‌های توانا با نام و جیمیل مستعار ثبت نام کنید. برای ما مهم انگیزه شهروندی و علاقه شما به آموختن است. ما هرگز نام واقعی شما را نمی‌پرسیم. تیم فنی توانا از طریق سایت تواناتک به شما کمک می‌کند تا با خیال راحت و فارغ از دردسرهای امنیت وب در کلاس‌ها شرکت کنید. در توانا بیاموزید، با تواناتک پاسخ سوال‌های فنی خود را بگیرید و از صدها کتاب، ویدئو، آدیو و مدرک دیجیتال در کتابخانه توانا رایگان استفاده کنید. توانا پنجره آشنایی شما با جهان ایده‌های نو و تجربه مردم دیگر کشورها در گذار به دموکراسی. برای دسترسی به توانا و اطلاعات بیشتر به فیسبوک، توییتر، یوتیوب و گوگل پلاس توانا و تواناتک بپیوندید.